Hello, beautiful and amazing humans. Thank you for joining us once again on our next chapter, Into the Deep. Today, we are going to discuss the spiritual mountain and what that looks like. We often talk about the greatest humans on the planet that have accomplished certain feats, such as climbing physical mountains like Mount Everest, or being the fastest runner in the world, or of course we have the Guinness World Book of Records. But how often do we discuss the spiritual mountain? Because let's face it, all these physical things are incredible, and they certainly show us how amazing and incredible humanity and we are. However, we're going to die one day. That's the harsh reality. Or is it? Right? That's a question for you to ponder. But we talk about the spiritual mountain because in all reality, the spiritual mountain is the mountain of truth. And climbing the spiritual mountain is the path of truth. And what that means is that as you get to know your spirit, as you get to know yourself, you become closer to the source and you become closer to truth. So what you get out of that is you gain the ability and the capacity to become enlightened. And the reward of that is to be free, is to be fulfilled, is to be grounded, is to be in your truth, be in your element. Essentially the same as if you are to climb Mount Everest or become the fastest runner in the world, or the strongest man in the world, or woman, or whatever that looks like. Essentially, you gain strength, endurance, power, capacity, courage, confidence, all of those things, and the list goes on. And the same idea for the spiritual, because as we've discussed, it's the inside that creates the outside, not the other way around. And so climbing the spiritual mountain, a lot of us lose sight of this or forget this or don't think about this until it's too late, unfortunately, which is that moment on your deathbed where you realize, holy, I'm gone. I'm leaving. And in that moment, I can guarantee you're going to reflect on every single thing in your life and reassess and reevaluate and perhaps pray for forgiveness or repent, whatever you need to do, because you wish you could have done something differently, or maybe you don't. But I use this analogy because it's what brings out the truth. So if somebody took a gun to your head, what would matter in that moment, in that split second? And often and far too much do we as humanity and society lose or forget ourselves and our sight of this truth because we get caught up in placing value in the material world, and we become distracted with the truth and with that reality. And what happens is that we then put value in the physical and allow it to define us, who we are and what we are, right? So essentially we've come into this planet naked, and we've created these material relationships and these material definitions of ourselves, such as status or money or power or gain or whatever that is that one thinks of, or some sort of temporary fulfillment of a material object. It could be anything: clothing, houses, materials, cars, whatever, and the list goes on. And if we lose that material, or we're unable to get that material, that temporary fulfillment, we have connected it and ingrained it so much into our physical self that we've lost ourselves spiritually. Because if we now look at ourselves as this being that is defined by how much money I make, or what the job I do, or what possessions I have, what type of status I have or power I have, I've defined myself now in something that is not real, a physical, manifest existence that is temporary, that is only a passing through. And so how do we know that it's not real? Because you can't keep it. You're going to die. You never came with it. You're going to leave it behind. Is there something after life that is infinite? That's for you to discover as you join me on taking your first step onto the spiritual mountain. And as you get to know yourself and the spiritual self, you define yourself in what you are, which is this beautiful, infinite being of light, love, and consciousness, truth, and love, which is a human being. And so the beautiful part is that you become free, and you find peace, and peace finds you as you connect to the source, the loving, infinite source that is powering you, myself, and all of us, all beings, all creation. And the best part is that the material then becomes an extension of nature, an extension of us, and a bonus, which is the most beautiful relationship one can have when we realize that, hey, I am the most beautiful creation. And I'm starting to understand that as I take these steps on this spiritual mountain, and everything else is a bonus. And I realize that humanity, myself, creation is the most valuable thing, and everything else is a result of that. And also makes us understand and realize that that is all a bonus, and we do not allow it to control us. We take our power back, and we control the physical manifest reality by becoming enlightened on this spiritual journey. So let's dive into the deep, shall we? What does that first step look like on the spiritual mountain? We have choices, we have feelings, we have emotions, we have thoughts that are all happening. It's all part of the happening, as Alan Watts has told us, and has, as one of the greatest philosophers that I listen to, has explained this, that all of this is a happening, this journey of life and existence. And we look at this intimidating spiritual mountain. Picture the tallest mountain on the planet. It's very intimidating. Oh no, a lot of things are going to come up. Fear, heartaches, I could freeze to death, I'm safe down here, all those things, these emotions, these feelings, these thoughts that scare us, and so we tend to tuck our tails and run the other way. However, what choice do I make? Do I choose freedom and enlightenment, peace? Do I choose higher vibrations? Do I choose positivity? Do I choose to feel fulfilled, enlightened, and close to the source? That choice is not necessarily the easiest one to make. So we look at this first step, and we look up the mountain, and we think and say, oh my, how am I going to make this? How am I going to do this? And that's why a lot of us tend to tuck our tails and run the other way and lose ourselves in this temporary physical manifest experience, this passing through of life. And so I'm here to tell you that it's not as scary as it looks. As you take your first step, you gain confidence, just as you would when you first learn how to ride a bike, or take your first step as a child, or learn how to swim, or just learn anything that's new, which is becomes very rewarding and beautiful because you gain knowledge along the way, and it becomes adventurous. So let's start with the first step. We look at this first step. We've determined that we're going to do this, and guess what? We're not alone, right? We have friends, we have family, we have guides, we have incredible teachers, leaders, technology, all these beautiful things. We have each other to guide us and to help us, because a lot of us are further ahead on the spiritual mountain, and we can look up and forward for guidance and ask for help, which is so beautiful. And as we step one step at a time, we feel that much more empowered and that much more courageous, and our positive energy and our vibrations begin to ascend, and we ascend, and there's so much gain from it, because you say and you realize, wow, I feel more at peace just with this one step, or I feel more grounded, or I feel more present, I feel more still, or all these positive things start to flood in and flow in, and your heart continues to open as you reach this next step one by one to gain enlightenment and fulfill the goal of the passing through as we look inside and we climb the spiritual mountain. So the first step, it's intimidating, it's scary, all these thoughts start flooding us and hitting us, and these emotions, and we think and we ponder and we ask ourselves, do we think and choose something positive, or do we think and choose something negative? Well, the answer is clear, right? It should be positivity, shouldn't it? Isn't that how you get up the mountain? Well, that's wrong. Actually, the answer is both. See, if we look at positive energy as premium fuel and negative energy as diesel fuel, now we can look at life and the spiritual journey in a whole different way, just like the yin yang, right? You need two to work together in perfect harmony, just like the sun and the moon continue to circle each other in this majestic, beautiful dance that give us day and night. In fact, it's not one or the other, it's both. And so if we look at these two sources as fuel, they can actually empower us and propel us to take these steps one at a time. So it's not about positive or negative. It's about becoming enlightened to see all things as equal and to open our hearts to absolutely everything and to work on overcoming fear and to be able to focus on the positive. However, we look at negative and we appreciate and we become grateful for that fuel, and we allow that to empower us and propel us, because actually negative energy is a much more powerful force than positive energy. And so when you combine the two, you become essentially unstoppable on the spiritual journey. So let's start there. Let's look at this first step as, oh, I'm scared. Well, that's a good thing, because I'm scared of the unknown. I'm scared to climb. I'm scared to go for this. And I'm going to overcome that fear because I'm going to choose to be courageous. I'm going to choose to focus on the positive. I'm going to choose to focus on what is beneficial, on having faith and becoming fearless and taking control and realizing that everything is beautiful and working harmoniously together. So we take this first step onto this mountain. We take a deep breath and we realize, wow, the air smells a lot more cleaner up here. It feels fresh. I have clarity. This isn't as scary as I thought it was. I've done something here. This is really interesting. I've taken control, and this feels good. Very importantly, it feels good. And now my thoughts are able to calm themselves, and I don't feel anxious or afraid or worried or nervous. And of course I know that there's going to be difficult steps ahead, but it's become a journey and an adventure, because we're not alone and we're in this together. And we can take one step at a time, which is the best part. And as we take one step at a time, we feel better and we feel lighter and we feel more clear, and our vibrations, they increase or they accelerate. If you look at it like a lot of these anime characters that are created in a very beautiful way that date back thousands of years in ancient Chinese and Japanese, Asian culture, a lot of the same, in essence, ideologies which have now been brought and manifested through us, through creation of characters or superheroes, for example, as we are shown and see the power comes from inside. For example, in Dragon Ball Z, the characters who become Super Saiyans or these powerful beings, they get their power from inside, from energy, from earth, from truth, from purity, all of these things. Superheroes, same idea, the energy, the power, it all comes from within. And that's what we are manifesting as we create these characters and what we see. Or many amazing, incredible, enlightened beings that have crossed the earth's path, such as Jesus, Buddha, and so many different characters, Martin Luther King, the list goes on, Mother Teresa, so many characters who have become enlightened, the Dalai Lama, and the list goes on and on and on. These beings that have understood and comprehended that life is a spiritual journey, and as I work on the spirit, as I work on the spiritual mountain, I will progress and be able to create and manifest such beautiful and powerful things by the source, the will of the source. And another example would be, for example, Einstein, or innovators and inventors and creators that are so connected to the source that they're able to manifest and create things, right? So we set our bullseye. We define our bullseye. What does that mean? It means that before I leave this earth, my goal and my bullseye is to give back, or to create something, or to be something, or to accomplish something, and nothing and no one will stop me. So that's my bullseye at the top of this mountain. I need to keep that in sight, because when the arrow is going straight for the bullseye, it doesn't matter what's in its path, it will hit that bullseye no matter what. And so let's set our bullseye. What does that mean to you? What is that for you? That's something that you need to choose to reflect on and decide and commit to, because nothing will stop you from now climbing this spiritual mountain. So the spiritual mountain, we have taken the first step. Good for you. That is amazing. That's incredible. Give yourself a pat on the back. Now it's time to learn about the self and to become in tune with the self and become present, and to connect with nature, the natural order the natural flow of things, the natural source, the source that gives us sustenance and life, that fills our lungs with breath, that creates the sun to rise and the moon to rise and fall, and tucks us out in our beds at night, essentially, and the energy that we all flow with and in together harmoniously, naturally, beautifully. We connect back with this, so there's no resistance, and it's so easy to get caught up in the manifest physical world where we have to work and there's so many distractions and stresses and pressures and bills and all these things. But hey, let's face it, we're all going to be 6 feet under or turned into ash with maggots, enjoying the feast of our flesh. And so really, what is important to you? Do we want to pass through this life as a zombie and kind of almost like essentially twirling our heads in confusion and stress and anxiety, and it affects our mental health, our physical health, as everything is connected? Or do we want to let go and trust the source that has created us and allowed us to experience and live in this manifest world where we essentially were created through the connection and creation of love by the natural order of humanity as we continue to multiply ourselves, which is so beautiful. And essentially, we weren't afraid to be created. So what are we afraid of now all of a sudden? This illusion of fear that we close our hearts, because that's what fear does. We become afraid. We close our hearts. And of course, when we do that, it's the equivalent of taking a power cable and crimping it so that the electricity can't flow properly, or a hose, when it's crimped, you see that the water can't flow. And that's what we're doing when we close our hearts, when we close ourselves. It's the same thing. So we can't grow, we're stuck, we're frozen, and that is where our vibrations are at a standstill, and essentially we can't flow. Our spirit can't flow, our blood can't flow, our heart can't beat properly, our minds and bodies become closed and unopen, and we're not able to grow. We're not able to reach this ability of enlightenment, which comes with the reward of peace, love, truth, harmony, and all these beautiful, incredible things. So we take this first step and we feel a feeling which we've never felt before, which is amazing. It's, wow, that feels very good. I feel safe. I'm so courageous. I can't believe I did that. That is amazing. I can't wait to take the next step, because with each step comes a reward. It comes a reward of truth, and we realize that, wait a minute, this physical world is a passing through. The spiritual world is the same spirit that I was created with when I came to this earth against my will in a beautiful way, and my spirit has unchanged. Other than I have gained knowledge, I have gained understanding, I have increased my mental capacity, my physical capacity, but my spirit is the same spirit. It is the same spirit. And that is how we know we are infinite. And so why not nourish and grow this spiritual self, this true self that is infinite, that gets to go wherever its destination is, and everything that the spirit gains, the spirit gets to keep, because we are passing through, right? So that's where this becomes beautiful, as we become one with the truth, one with nature, one with how when we see nature and the trees breathing with each other, and human beings breathing with each other, and the sun being given to everybody without resistance, we're able to share no matter what, without judgment, with pure openness, without fear, with pure openness, with compassion, empathy, love, all those things. And the reward and the benefit, like I said, it's spiritual power, it's truth, it's peace, it's harmony, it's understanding and being aware of emotions, understanding and being aware of thoughts, and being in control, being in the driver's seat, the true driver's seat, not the false driver's seat, where we can go and get drunk or do drugs or party or buy all these materials and think that we're this all-powerful being with all these materials. But as we've seen with many recent tragedies, how fast that can be taken away with war or sickness or, of course, lovely Mother Nature and her wrath of, sadly, things such as earthquakes. In any second, it's all gone. So how true really is that? But like I said, something that can't be taken away from you ever is your spirit. And so we develop this infinite self, and we feel our power, and that becomes a very healthy, beautiful addiction. The feeling of feeling your spirit and becoming one with this spirit and this journey as you take your first step, it becomes an addiction in a positive way, in a positive addiction in the sense of, wow, I cannot believe how good this feels. This feeling is true. It's real. It will never change. It's not a temporary feeling where I've done something like fed a physical addiction or had some sort of a physical high from all the things I've listed, which is temporary versus infinite, right? That feeling of feeling peace and happiness and joy is infinite, which is incredible, which is the best gift. And how could you not resist taking the next step? And so take the leap of faith, believe in yourselves, pray. When is the last time you've prayed? And it doesn't matter whatever you believe in. When's the last time you've just had a conversation with yourself and your spirit and been clear and been able to say, hey, I need this right now. I need you right now. I need help. I need guidance. I need love. I'm afraid. I need help with finances, whatever that looks like. I want to start this journey, whatever that is, because I want to love myself. And as I love myself, I become at peace and I'm able to trust. Essentially the same way a baby would trust its mother or its father, being cuddled and having affection and love and being fed and put to sleep and being able to trust and feel that safety. There's no resistance there. In fact, the baby cries more to get more of that because it's a need. And that when we are the same, we are no different. We've grown up physically, we haven't changed, and we forget that. So we open our hearts more and more with each step, and we realize, wait a minute, I need to let go of this physical control because I'm doing my best, and my best is beautiful, and this is incredible, and I'm going to let go of this control. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to connect with colleagues and friends and people and guides and my family, and I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to trust the universe, and I'm going to breathe with the trees instead of try to hold my breath, and I'm going to go sit with the sun. I'm going to go sit in the woods and connect with nature and become grounded and become open. And I'm going to be kind to others and kind to myself because what goes around comes around. I'm going to create positive energy, and I'm going to use negative energy as a powerful source and force and be thankful and grateful towards negative energy in the sense of fear or anger or hatred or any of those things that come up, anxiety. All of this is actually the most powerful source and force of beautiful positive pressure to help us get up those steps. And we're able to look back and say, wow, thank you so much for that painful experience that has now empowered me to become stronger, or for that scary experience that has empowered me to become more courageous, or for that heartache or that difficulty I had financially to make me grateful for what I have today, or whatever that it is. Whatever that it is so beautiful, because when we extend something positive towards something negative, we know mathematically that positive is able to essentially, the bigger the number, it's able to absorb the negative in a very beautiful way. And so we extend compassion, empathy, forgiveness, love to ourselves, to those forces, and we become one with them, and we extend it to others around us, beings, and it is a very beautiful feeling. And so I now hold my spiritual hand out to you, and I say, take the leap of faith. Follow me up this mountain. Let's climb it together. We're in this together. It's time to become free and to find yourself and to become at peace and able to keep your heart open and make a positive impact on those around you, which is the best gift that you can give. Make a positive impact on yourself, on your friends, on your family, on your community, on those around you. Because at the end of the day, the best thing that one can do is give back in this way, and to be able to look back and say, oh my, am I proud of my brother or my sister or my parents or my children or my friends, and I'm so grateful to have been able to lead them into this journey and to see who they are as a person today. Wow, are they enlightened or kind or powerful, or look what they've accomplished because of being able to connect with the self and the spirit, and now look at them giving back and creating this energy with others, because it is a chain reaction of energy. And so join me on this journey as we journey up the spiritual mountain together, because we are together. Join me on this journey of the self and get to know yourself. How cool would it be to be so aware of our emotions and our feelings, and to be so aware of our thoughts and be able to control our thoughts, and to look at everything as beautiful, and be able to live in peace, and to create such a powerful impact on ourselves and on everything around us, and be able to leave this world without any regrets. That's incredible. And I essentially am reaching out my hand, asking you to join me. So let's do this together. Thank you for listening. Please continue to follow my channel. You can find me, the Mahdi Podcast, Mahdi. I'm on various different podcast stations, Spotify, the Podbean, and also I'm on YouTube, username Rocket, Rocket, Allouche, Allouche. You'll find me, Rocket Allouche, on YouTube, Instagram, Richard Allouche on Facebook, and please share the videos, share these audio clips, and let's do this together. Thank you so much. Salam alaikum. Goodbye. Namaste. And have yourself a lovely, incredible, beautiful day. Thank you. Goodbye. And we'll see you next time.